So guys, today's meeting, I'm just going to talk a little bit, and I'm going to kind of have it be an open discussion. I want to get some feedback from everybody that's been dealing with the leads that are coming in, and where you think the price point is, the zip codes. I want to get into that a little bit. Before we go there, I wanted to say what the goals for the whole thing is, what my goals are. So my goals are to help you succeed with your leads, and that's making your initial phone call if it comes in an email, or answering the phone, making the initial email, text, whatever that might be. There's a bunch of resources in Zillow. I've made thousands of phone calls myself, and been in thousands of properties and know many people, so I'm pretty good at that. So if you guys don't know how to make it, or if you're unhappy with whatever you see online, or training you've had, you can reach out to me individually too. That's perfectly fine. I always make time for everybody. So that's my goal to you guys, is to be accountable to you guys, to follow up with you guys, to make sure, hey, listen, we are capturing these leads, we're doing something with it. If you don't have the time to call somebody right away, that's fine. Just let me know and I'll make the call for you and say, okay, here's the person, here's what they want. Go do your thing, you know. That happened with Nina yesterday. It's happened a few times. So that's my goal to you. It's also to help you follow up, effectively with your leads. After you've made the initial phone call, now you know what they want, is to strategize. Maybe they're a little difficult. Maybe it's a Section 8 person that's going to be hard to find, or the lady that wants the for sale by owner, and the owner doesn't want to work with us. How we can circumnavigate that. Maybe the lead didn't come in all that great, or the property that they want, but we can go around that and still make use of that lead that came into us.
Your
and
number,
also to help you.
I don't have your number, please.
Okay, I'll send it in the WhatsApp
Okay.
right now, okay, after the meeting. And then it's also to help you close your leads. Historically in sales, it's 1 in 10. That's the magic ratio for sales in a very general sense. It'd be really great if we can maybe turn that into 1 in 10 or 2 in 10 as a group. I mean, if you close 1 in 10 sales, that's pretty standard in sales. What I need in return from you guys is feedback from the leads. This lead is junk. This lead is 3 to 6 months away. They're out of the state and they're going to come. Or this lead's very hot. Maybe you're already working with a bunch of people and you need somebody to just make a search, or have an assistant. And, she needs to do something with her time. So I don't even mind doing the search, or have her do the search for us as a group. I'm here to help you guys out. So if we have a hot lead and you don't have the time, but you still want to work it, we can use her to even make the search, just to make sure that we don't lose anything that comes across our plate. Because we pay for these leads whether we use them or not. No matter what, every lead, every phone call, text, email, we're paying for it. Some of them are expensive, it's $66 per phone call. So if you guys maybe take the initial phone call and can't deal with them, I can step in and help you at least do the search and get the process going. So what I need from you guys is feedback. Have you guys contacted the client? Is this client serious? We're going to talk a little bit about this, about the quality of each lead that comes in. And then to give me, additional feedback. It's been a week. You've made the initial contact, you sent out a search, maybe you did a showing, maybe you did 0 showings. They can only go on the weekends, but just to stay on it. You have to create a process to close the business. These guys have made, $7,000 commitment to themselves, to you guys, to this company, and they're going to try to recoup some of that return. So we need to create a system to say, okay, this was a Zillow lead. It's paying the company back at least something in their investment. So they have $7,000 budgeted now. They're prepared to go to $30,000 if we create an efficient system out of this. So it's pretty serious. They're willing to make a $360,000 a year investment in this program. That's significant. So the feedback is going to be very important for us to kind of follow through the whole thing. And one of the things that I'd love to hear from you guys is, hey, this person called me a week ago, a month ago, yesterday. I'm making an offer. Great. Offers, although our closed sales is still progress. They started this program in April. If the first caller in April, or the first email or whatever, were to be a finance deal, it would have closed a week ago. It'd be about a 45-day timeline, or maybe even a little bit longer. So we cannot judge our results day to day, week by week, but we can judge them, quarter by quarter. I think is going to be really the only way to gauge this thing long term. To see, okay, is this $360,000 a year investment going to be worth it or not? So if you guys are making offers, 1 offer, 2 offers, 3, whatever, it'd be really nice for me to know, so I can share that with the guys so they see that, okay, these guys are on top of this thing, they're going through it, they're making effort. Right now I'm in the process of creating like an in-house follow-up tracking system for myself, besides just the WhatsApp and the text message and me screenshotting something and sending it off to you guys and saying, hey, Katrina, did you follow up on this? Or Boris or Brianna or whichever. So I'm still working on that. That's in play. You guys have to give me a little bit of time. But for now, I'm just going to stick to the WhatsApp and emails and phone calls. Ina's reached out to me a whole bunch yesterday working with something. So you guys feel free to reach. Usually I answer my phone up until about 10 p.m. at night, just so you guys know. And so really what I wanted to have this be today is kind of an open discussion, just to hear your stories. What are you coming across? You know, we have certain zip codes that we've subscribed to. It's 8 zip codes. I've received maybe 12 calls or so, and I guess I'll start the discussion by saying that some of the people that I've answered have been, you know, as unattractive a lead as a Section 8 rental, which I've probably taken 3 phone calls over, or as attractive as a $450,000 property that was in Pompano that I actually showed this past Saturday. So it's all over the place. You know, some of the leads are, the person is very, very green. I had a phone call from a guy that wanted an $87,000 property, and I went through the script, which I handed out to you guys. We'll go through that later. But I basically went through the script, and when I asked him the question of, where are you in your finance process? Are you going to pay in cash or are you going to get finance? And he said, oh, I just need to go to my bank and they'll give me the check. And I said, okay, so you're going to pay in cash. He said, no, I'm going to finance. But he was so green to the point that he thought he could just go to his bank and they'll cut him a check and he'll be buying this thing next week. So that's not a very hot lead. Another lead that I received was for a $97,000 apartment. And I called the lady, and actually she wanted 5 apartments that equaled up to, I think it was around $500,000 or so. So the lead came in not all that great. $100,000 apartment is not a super hot lead, depending on, you know, where your marketplace is in this. But I called the lady anyways. I wanted to see what she was all about, and she was actually looking for 5 apartments, and this is one of 5 for sale. And in the broker's remarks, it even said that. It said, this is one of 5. You know, it's a bulk sale for 5 units. I've sent that lady the 5 units. I've sent her a whole bunch of other stuff. So a $97,000 lead potentially is a $500,000 transaction for her. So that's a decent one. That's been some of my experiences. Michael, I invited you to come today because I see that you answer a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hear some of your feedback, understand what's your experience in this.
Well, just like what you're going through, I've had from the Section 8, probably had about 6 or 7 of those. But I've got deals all the way from $299,000, $88,000 to $500,000, and a couple of them got contracts on it. So it's working out good. You just got to keep following up with the customer. Don't give up. Because they're buyers, and just got to get them a house.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I wrote the script here. I borrowed some from Zillow and I changed it up just to give everybody some sort of an idea. You know, Katrina is very new and she's asking a lot of questions, so you were some of the inspiration for that. But basically, it's the goals. You know, like Michael answers a ton of phone calls. Ada answers a lot of phone calls. I answer some. It's basically the goal is to get their contact info, their address, or the property, what they're looking for. I always ask them where they are in the process. Are you pre-qualified? Are you paying in cash? Where are you? If they're pre-qualified or they're a cash buyer, even if it's an $80,000 deal, but they're cash, it's a 2-week, 3-week transaction process for you. So that's kind of a quick hit, even on the lower stuff. So the $80,000, $90,000 stuff, in my experience, we have one guy that called for an $80,000 unit and said, okay, well, how would you like to pay? He said, cash. I'd like to make the offer right now. That was with Marina. I think she just walked in. Join us. She actually received a lead. This is an interesting one. And she came to me the other day. She said, I received this lead. It was for $87,000. And at a glance, it didn't seem all that attractive. And she said, well, you know, she had a bit of a bad experience in a showing with another lead. And I said, okay, well, what do you want to do with it? She said, I don't want to call them. And I said, okay. I said, I'll call them, and I'll call them in front of her. So I put a guy on speaker, and I called the guy, and I said, whatever. I said, you know, I went through the whole thing, and the guy said, yeah, well, I'm interested in making an offer, cash buyer. I'll make it right now. And I said, okay. I need proof of funds, and I'm going to send you an e-sign contract right now. I said, okay. And then she prepared the contract. Right after that, it was a call that we were going to toss away. Maybe cost the company $12 or so, which is not what you should worry about. But it was something that we were almost passed on, and now the guy has e-signed. I've already sent it to the seller. The seller is going through whatever their process now. We might have a closing in 10 days from that. So, you know, not a huge number, but still something, still some money for you and for the company and for us, so we can show some kind of thing. The reason why I keep on mentioning these numbers, 80, 90, 100, that seems to be the majority of the phone calls that I'm getting. What have you guys experienced? Anybody, Brianna?
Yeah.
Same numbers? Michael, what would you say is the numbers that are coming for you?
Well, I've got a guy from Israel right now. He wants to buy, I think he's flying into Miami tomorrow. He wants to buy 3 units. 2 of them are in the 60s, and then the other one's around 90. So,
200 and something thousand
yeah.
in transactions from it. I'm going to suggest to the powers to be that we revisit the zip codes. You know, I know that maybe we don't want to go far, but we can't do something else because right now these things aren't moving. I have a bunch of listings here. I'm getting 0 phone calls.
Like, for me personally, my area, I focus on more south anyways. Midtown, Edgewater, Woodwood, like anything down there. So there's nothing for me down there. So it's kind of a drive for me to go up here. I prefer to go sometimes, but I know everyone else is up here.
Well, I live in Edgewater. You know, I have a house in House Point and an apartment in Edgewater, so I stay between the both. So for me, it would work too. I don't know if the powers to be want to go that route, but I think that we need to maybe revisit some of the zip codes here.
I mean, that's
I'll
what's
address
hot right
that.
now, so why not, you know? There's a lot of work on there.
Well, I guess it's because they're not necessarily available, right?
They might not be, or they might be
available.
way more expensive because
Well,
the
the
way
price depends on the zip code, then they have to be
That's the thing. So,
available.
yeah, I think some, like those ones are gonna be more expensive.
Sure.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
You know, that
much more
decision,
expensive.
it's out of our hands, but it's up to me to make the case for us. So that's a little bit of the reason why I'm bringing that up. But I mean, we can go into that right now. Here's the zip codes right here. These are the average median homes. This is the amount of leads, and this is the cost per. So we've spent up to $66, and some leads going up to about 400 grand. That's real numbers right there. That's the expenses coming out of being drafted from our bank account. So I don't think that they're scared of paying $66 a lead at all, but I think we just need to show a little something.
But it's so much per month per zip code, right?
Well, there it is right there. It tells you
No,
what
but,
you're paying
and
for.
then you arrive to this price because the number of leads you got during the month.
Yes, so it's
Okay.
10 leads at $400,000 price range, going to cost us
Yeah,
$600.
it's a fixed amount per month per zip code, but the zip code, the price change per zip code, right?
There it is right here. It varies. Some of them are as little as $5, which is probably a lot of those, that area that we're getting some of the lower stuff. And some are up in the 60s, some are in the 20s. So they're all over the place. I'm going to revisit this, but I want to just to know that are we getting any results from the $80, $90, $100,000 crowd? I personally have one offer being drafted now for 140, whatever. We did it last week. Now we're doing another offer. So I've gotten, of the 10 people or 12 people that I've spoken to in that price range, I maybe have 4 bites or so.
Does anybody has closed a deal, has had a closing on from a
Michael, have you
sale?
closed anything from Zoe?
Ask me, guys.
I have an offer now.
Yes,
Does,
yes, it was
there's a closing,
so
that,
close.
there's 2 transactions that close based on zero leads.
This year?
It was not recently. It was not very expensive houses. Obviously, it's not $1 million, but the price range was 120 through 300. To be more accurate, 290. Yeah.
So there was 2 closing from the
Yes.
zero leads.
Yes, yes. And the third one on the way. So anytime soon.
Do you guys have any offers from any Zolies right now? No?
I have the 2 for rentals, and now I have 2 offers for sale, but it is a backup offer, so I'm waiting to give first.
So yesterday, I think Katrina reached out to me and said that she was going to make 3 offers, right?
Yeah, she
Multiple
was.
offers for
He
one
was
person?
going to offer for 3 houses, but then one of them I contacted the listing agent and he told me that for sure you don't have chances to get it. So we did just these 2. So I hope one of them is going to work for us.
Boris, anything?
Well, I sent an offer today. It's a full price offer. for 120,000. But the thing is that it is a short sale. It is approved short sale, which is good, but still it's a short sale. It's a FHA loan the client is getting. It's 120,000. But we sent a full price offer. I have another guy from New York who is coming this weekend. But first of all, when he contacted me, he wanted to buy something also for around like 100 to 150. But as of right now, he changed his mind. He decided to rent something for the first year, and then hopefully he will buy something. But as of right now, I'm doing a rent for him. I'm pretty sure it will close, but it's just a small rent for like 1,500. But hopefully in 1 year he will buy something.
You get some activity.
Huh?
You have some activity.
Yeah.
An offer today and a rental.
Yeah.
Rihanna?
There was one guy I talked to, I think it was last week, that it was just a really low one, so it was like 60 or 70,000. But then it turned out he wanted to maybe buy 2 of them. So we had talked a few times, and I would do like another search and send him more, and then he just like wouldn't really get back to me. So I don't know, I just gotta keep following up with him. But that was like the main one.
Just to have an idea, so you might have one, right? You did one rental, but I know you had a lot of leads, right? How many leads? The one rental that you got, it's from how many leads? How many leads?
How many leads?
Because I know when you were on one, now it's not on one app, so I don't see them anymore. But I know you were responding to
I didn't get a
like,
single phone call. I didn't get these phone calls at all.
no, but
This
from
is
WhatsApp
the
before, I know
previous
you were
ones.
getting a lot.
I know. Well,
But
there are-
just to have numbers, how many leads did you get in all, whatever they came?
Yeah, no, more than
Yeah.
I think more than 20. I think like 30 maybe.
I got about 10.
10.
How does it work with the phone calls? Because I know there was a point like a week or 2 ago where my phone was ringing off the hook, but half the time I would answer, I didn't see this lead has already been claimed. I just got annoyed, I just stopped answering. But it's like 1 in every 10 would actually be a phone call.
Who gets those calls?
Yeah, how
Who gets
does
it?
it work?
Who really gets
right,
it?
Right now, it's 5 people. It's Mark, Mireya, Michael, Klodson, and myself. Those are the 5 people that get
Which network are the 5
and,
using?
and who else rings? Katrina and Rihanna, I think you do
I
too.
think mine
The-
was, but then we
The
get
3 of our
doubles, I
phones, the
wasn't
3 of our phones just rang simultaneously. Did you see that when we were sitting here?
Yeah, I just saw
Yeah, I
it.
got
And
it.
Katrina was the quickest draw out of that one. Michael seems to get the
network
most.
you got?
So is that how it works? It rings everybody's phone at the same time and whoever answers
It rings the people that are in the system for it to ring as, and it's quickest draw.
Okay, I was wondering that.
So 3 phone rang at the same time?
Yeah, my phone just rang.
Yeah, just
The
on this
3 of us
room.
rang it.
But Boris
As a-
also got this phone call, right?
Yeah, today. Yeah,
Yeah, today
because
just like
And
10
your phone rang at the
Yeah,
same
he
time?
did not- he did not get it.
Which carrier do you have?
AT&T.
And your phone rang at the same time? Caio,
It varies.
your phone rang at the same time?
The 3 of our phone rang at the same
Which
time.
network do you have? Which
I have T-Mobile.
So T-Mobile seems to have
But Boris
the calls
has
first,
AT&T,
right?
so
I have
it's
Verizon.
actually
Yeah, he
different, so-
has, yeah, but I think T-Mobile uses AT&T
No,
network.
but I have Verizon, mine.
No, but yours rang, they already are taking the call, right? That's what you're saying.
No, it's all just ringing right now.
Oh,
These both of these phones are ringing at the same thing.
And
They
which
ring
carrier do you
simultaneously at
have?
the same
Correct.
time, so.
They're all gonna ring
Okay,
regardless,
so
it's
they
just
all
whoever picks
pretty
it up
much at the
faster, I
same
think, yeah.
The reception,
Yeah.
the reception
Yeah.
and everything.
Can I say something for your question? You asked how many leads she had that she got with
Yeah.
the rental.
Or him.
Last year, I had about, okay, I'm gonna be sincere, 200 calls from Zillow. I had a Zillow sign up.
Yeah,
200 calls.
That you were paying for yourself?
I was paying by myself. I had 6 sales from 200.
that's good.
But the way I look is that the 200, they still leads, they still clients that are still working. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the way you live. It is the point. 200 people are gonna call you, you're gonna call 6. Who cares? It's 6.
You have 200 more
So I
potential.
have like
If you have
5
the-
people with whom I'm really working right now. It's
I
not
think
like
the other ones is still leads.
Yeah, they're still leads.
but
They're
they're
still
out
leads.
of state,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
coming here maybe in the end of the summer. Another one came here, she didn't buy anything. There was one woman who came here and told that she wasn't about to buy something in Winston Towers, but then she looked at the market, looked at the prices, and said that it's very high right now, it's not worth it, I'm not buying it. But still, it was her decision. I tried to change it, but they couldn't. But anyway. working with her, if I keep working with her, and she might come back in a half a year and maybe you'll.
You still have some line for Zil?
No,
You still have it?
no,
You let it
because
go?
no, there's no calls coming in, so, there's no reason to.
Yeah, you let it
Even
go.
though Caio, I know Caio is working to change some of the zip codes to get better zip codes, we work, he's working some areas. I hope to get better because those areas come from home.
We have that?
And then we'll just pick up a couple of areas, so now we have to see what are the areas that are.
Maybe the office.
That's it, come up with
Yeah.
something.
Do it.
That's a little bit out of our range. So as far as the influx of, sure,
I just got one call. He was talking about this call. So I just have a question. Was somebody have more calls?
well, there's only these 5 people on here,
Ah.
and I was going to go into that right now. What Roman has asked is for the people that are in shift, for there to be shifts. So there's morning shift, evening shift. Right now, I have not implemented that at all. I have interviews today and some of tomorrow to reach out to everybody. Some of you guys have already spoken about the shifts, others I haven't. But I will today, whether here or over the phone. But I want to know who wants what slots, and it's one or the other. There are already, Michael answers the phone a lot, Brianna answers the phone kind of a lot too, Katrina. So the people that are already experiencing it, they already have the money, I'm going to honor that. But there's going to be the slot available for the evening shift, so when the evening shift comes, the morning people are off, and the evening people will be on. That's to spread it around. So we continue to get the emails and all that. That's not going to change it. The text message ones, but the phone calls one, Roman wants us to implement a system of 2 shifts so that it'll be easier for me to track and for him to track as well. So that's the idea, and that we're going to probably start on Monday.
Question. So how do the email and the text message ones work? How do you divvy those and divide those up? How do you-
Those are automatic. Those I have no influence on whatsoever. If it's part of the team, there's 19 of us, I think, that are on it now, it rotates on its own. And it gauges your reaction time. If you don't react to it, it will move it to the next person, and it'll say concierge, do not follow up. And I see the one that goes to everybody, but it'll show, like, let's say for you, for example, I haven't noticed in your name, but it might show you as one now. And if I look at it, I'm on the phone, I might be doing something else, and if you don't answer back, and I don't know how much time I haven't asked Syl that question yet. They owe me a phone call right now, but it will go down the ladder onto the next people, but everybody's on it. I have no influence on that whatsoever. So the only one that they want me to have a hand in is the shifts, is to see who's being very effective, who's communicating back and forth, who's having activity and getting results for their investment. That's where we are with that. I handed out the script again. I know that I handed it out this last week. I'm not going to go through the whole entire thing, but this is just the base. Some of us already have this down, some of us don't. For those of us that don't have it,
Yes, I know. My conversation was not good.
that's okay. This is just the base. You guys don't have to read this. It doesn't have to be.
No.
It doesn't have to be. You know?
Thank you.
So the script is just a base. I wish I gotta look up this guy's story. There was an insurance guy in New York. I never forget this story. I heard 15 years ago, and this guy crushed business because he had all of his salespeople just stick to the script of the 5 insurance products that he sold. That was it. He could have taken anybody off the street. He taught him something that was this easy. And this is just capturing the lead, bringing it in house, and if you need help with doing the search or whatever, I'm here for that. I'm more than willing to help. But basically, the goals of it is to capture the contact info, the address, or if they don't have an address, some of these people call me and say, well, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's roughly this area. Definitely want to know if they're pre-qualified and their form of payment, if they're paying cash or not, because that puts them on their list. Are they hot, medium, or cold? If they're pre-qualified, they're cash, they're hot. They jump on my list up high. They're ready to go. Like the person that was with Marina, I have tons of other things going on, but she and I made the phone call. The guy's ready to make the offer now. I said, draft the contract this minute. That's exactly what she did. She sat down on the computer, drafted the contract. I asked the guy for proof of funds. He sent it to me right away. We drafted the contract in like an hour. So he's a cash buyer. He's ready to go. That's as hot as it gets. Now this guy that's got to go talk to a bank, but he's ready now. He might be a B lead. He might definitely will follow up with them, but I wouldn't push people out of the way for that kind of client. And the guy that's curious, the neighbor, the whatever, the guy that just happened to see it or you own something like it, capture his email. I would maybe put him on monthly, but I would not push anybody out of this for somebody like that. So you definitely want to know, back to the script here, you definitely want to know if they're pre-qualified because that's going to, judge how much attention you give them and how immediate your attention. And then again, you would go ask them, when do you want to buy and would you like to see it? Zillow in their training stuff that I've been reading lately pushes a lot to ask them to see it and to see if they want to see it today or within the next opportunity available to them. And that, from what Zillow's experience says, is going to gauge their seriousness. If this guy's a neighbor and he just wants to know the price, he might not want to see it. If he heard his price, he doesn't want to talk to you anymore, he's gone. And you don't waste any time on that person. Your time is very valuable. But if the person does want to see it, maybe they're not pre-qualified yet, but they're at least seeing it and they fall in love, you can at least get the wheels rolling. They're a B client probably. So that's what Zillow says, is to to figure out when. So the script is very simple. It's just basically introducing yourself, which property are you interested in, because when they call you, we don't know which property they're calling about. You saw a number, you answer, and that's usually the question that I ask first. They give you the address. Say, excellent. Let me look up that address in our system to make sure that that property is still available. As we all know, Zillow's information is delayed by a week or a month, so a lot of times it may not be available. It might be pending, it might be whichever. One of the calls that came in for Katrina, that was pending, right?
Yeah.
The property that you
A lot,
wanted.
actually, a lot of call or
A lot of them are pending?
pending sales because they're not renewing the plates.
Yeah, I had a call where it was a for sale by owner,
Alright.
and I found the owner's number and I called him and asked him if he wanted to work with agents, and he said no. So I called the agent, I called the buyer back, and I said, this property is no longer available, but I have other opportunities and I'm working with that guy now. But you can at least push something else, or at least
Yeah,
show
sure.
them other
I-
things.
I
If
will-
the guy's not going to pay you, you're not doing anybody any favors, really. You didn't sell it. But if it's a for sale by owner and they're not cooperative, then just offer them other things. So in case you do come across that in Zillow. I've come across that, you came across a pending one, so it's similar. It's not available, but you can show them other stuff. And then we would say also, the property that they asked about, you get the address and you see if that's available. Would you be interested in seeing other opportunities similar to the one that you referenced? Most likely they're going to say yes, and we're saying that in case the property that they're looking at is pending or not available. Likely they're going to say yes. The agent say, excellent. How far along are you in the buying process? What you're hearing for is, I'm pre-qualified. I'm paying in all cash. Maybe they drove by the property. The person that I spoke about last week, this client had already driven by the property. She just needed somebody to make the contract for her, which we did. And we're working with her now. Other people are a lot more green and they haven't, and they're willing to look at other opportunities too. So you get a lot of information. That's when I would ask the question and shut up and be very quiet and hear. Because they might say a lot. And if they're talkative, they're going to tell you everything you need to know with that question. So that might be the all-important question. More important than the address is where are they now? They're qualified. I've been looking for a month. Oh, listen, you're not the only realtor I'm talking to. They might give you everything you need to know. Yeah.
I got one pitch notice a couple weeks ago where the guy was like, he called because he thought I was a listing agent. And when I told him I wasn't, I was like, well, you need to work with an agent. I could be a buyer's agent. He's like, no, I'm not working with any realtors in South Florida. Like, so many bad experiences, everybody's corrupt, you're going on. And I was just like, okay, well, if you need anything, let me know. Like, we ended up talking for a while, and he was nice, and he kind of explained all the bad things that had happened. So that's why he didn't want to. That does happen here, but he was nice, and he just said, if I need you, I'll let you know. But people have bad experiences, and they can
I would ask for his email, maybe just follow up with something like that
Yeah.
if you need me. If he sees your picture's great, and maybe look at our website. It's
Yeah.
very credible. It's our office. You might be able
He
to.
ended up being nice at the end, but I mean, I get where he was coming from, because that happened,
Yeah, Marina asked me that question the other day is, are you the listing agent? And there are different ways that you can answer that. The way that I answered it to this client, and I just kind of, the answer that came to me, I said, no, I'm not the listing agent, but this listing agent doesn't work for you. He works for the seller. His goal is to get highest and best offer. He wants asking price. He doesn't want the best price. He's not going to give you all this great research. You know, I'm incentivized by you making this purchase. He's incentivized by you paying asking price for that property, highest and best offer. So he certainly does not represent your best interest at all. He represents the best interest of the seller. That was my answer.
Do it.
Yeah, some people might say yes, some people might tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, you're not that other person, and if they're telling you to F off, it's because of his, maybe the personality type or his life experience or whatever. You may not want to work with that person yourself, but your time is valuable. And if this guy's telling you to F off this, that, and the third, he might be the incorrigible, client. Nick and I closed a huge loan on Monday with a client of mine. That's actually my physical therapist. I needed last year and I had screws put in my ankle and surgery and everything, and I was going into this physical therapy place. And he'd hear me on the phone while I'm getting a massage talking about real estate deals. So after like 3 months of me going to him, one day he brings me in his office and he goes, Caio, I need help. I'm being burned so bad right now, I might lose over $1 million. Can you help me? I said, yeah, what's up? He bought a piece of land, he probably overpaid $200,000 for 1.2 million, 1.3 million. He started building a 9,000 square foot house. The builder and the lender are in cahoots. He's paying 11% hard money. The builder is not delivering. He fires the first builder, hires a second builder. He fired that builder. Now he needs to find a third builder. And now his note is due, and he has to refinance the whole thing. And he can't go back to his first lender because this guy's burning him. He owes that guy $1,550,000. We get it appraised at $2,600,000 as is. That's not a great loan he needs to cash out $500,000. He needs $2 million. He needs to refi 1.5 and pull out 5. And he's the most paranoid person I've ever spoke to in real estate, ever. And he's getting 9,000 square foot house on the lot. So I get Nick involved. We start going through this. We started this in February. We closed the loan Monday. So, and he was burned by the first realtor, burned by 2 builders, hard burned by his lender. That's criminal activity. I mean, I think he has a case, but he was a similar situation to that. This is the worst I've ever dealt with, ever. From the builder to the realtor to everybody. Everyone that this guy came across burned him. And he's been in Florida for like 1.5 years, 2 years. He just arrived. These are the first people he met. Very bad experience. He still is going to probably lose $300,000-$400,000. But he's going to learn a hard lesson in real estate and REIT trust. So you never know. I didn't know that about him. If I knew that about him up front, I probably would have just avoided him as a client, but I didn't. I found that stuff out as I worked with him. As we started, and as I met the old builder, and as I dug into the paperwork, and as I looked at the old loan, then we started finding out more and more and more. So that might happen. What you can really do is be nice, follow up with an email. That's kind of it.
You changed his mind.
He changed his mind. He got his loan. He's paying. Saturday, I meet with the
No,
builder.
about the premium in Florida,
Oh yeah, you have to finish. You have to sell it. It's listed at $4,195,000.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll probably sell it for $3,600,000 down the road. Where are we at? So that question is the all-important question. How far along are you? You're gonna probably hear everything that you need to know. You're gonna be able to qualify them in this sheet right over here, right from there. And that would dictate how much time I spend with this person. After he tells you that, I would say that's great. This Brianna ties right into what you're saying. If that guy, if you ask him how far along in the process, if he starts getting negative with him, say, okay, well, you can tell him about yourself, how long you've been in real estate, tell him about our company, invite him to come down. This is the nicest real estate office I've ever seen in South Florida. This, and there's a commercial company called Sharif Group that spent $2 million in their office. And theirs is just as nice as this. So I would invite them to come here. I think if they see our space, they're going to know these guys have all the credibility in the world. Talk about yourself a little bit. Definitely follow up with an email. Ask them when they're available to look at the property. That's going to also tie into a little bit as to how hot they are, if they're willing to come and see it fast. Roman and Zillow say, give them the first showing for free, and you're gonna see them. They're gonna know if they're serious or not. They're gonna know that you're serious if you're able to go and see them within a handful of days. They might not be getting that experience. This guy that Brianna spoke to has been getting burned or flaking people or whatever. You know, if he sees that you're willing to make a time commitment to him right away, you might capture that person, if not for this transaction, for something else, or even a listing or something. So set the time, just so Zillow says to ask that. I think that this is a matter of personal opinion and how the conversation flows, but ask them if they're working with another realtor right now. I don't often ask this question myself, but if the conversation is going very organically, you may want to, because if they are, they'll tell you, and then again, that'll put you in ranking for them. It's more information for you to have. Information is power. If you know it all and they know nothing, you have a lot of power over them. So I would definitely ask. They're going to respond to you. Capture their information if you can. If you don't get their info, text me. I have it. My phone records every phone call, every text, whatever. I have all of that. So if for some reason you miss, ask for it for yourself. But if you miss it, ask me, and I can send you a screenshot. And then thank them for their time, confirm the appointment, and that's all. So that's the basic script. That's if you're sitting in the computer and you have the time to look at it. If you don't, it's almost the same thing, but very short. It's, let me get your information, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you can get back to them, then do so. If you can't get back to them, you can get back to me. I won't penalize you for doing that, but I'll make the phone call. I'll collect the info, and I'll hand it back to you, and you can follow on down the road when you have time. So if someone can't do, or you need a week off, or whatever time, just tell me. I'm just here to help you guys close. We all make money at it. If we close the company, you and myself, so we're all incentivized to do that. So that's where we're at. Any feedback, guys? Anybody standing not up here that wants to be up here? Amazing. Okay. You have Zillow? You have a Zillow page, yeah? So bullet points of this meeting, if you guys make contact with somebody, please let me know. And if they're a dud, that's fine. Just let me know. Caio, last call, dud. Email, thumbs up, great, working on them now. Doing a showing, whatever, so that I can have these weekly meetings with Roman and company and say, here's what we're doing. You know, here's what the team's doing. Here's what's going on. Boris has this, or Claudia has that, or Ruben has this, or whatever. So we show them that we're creating some sort of results. And if it's an offer, even if it's a rejected offer, well, we made an offer, that's still a result. You know, we still capture something that came in and we created a result from that. That result is a dud, so you know, this is a waste of our time. Chuck it. We move on to the next person.
Okay, I got a question. Is there a way that when we get a lead that the telephone can ring or something, because mine doesn't do anything, but you gotta keep checking every time.
Yeah, Ina asked me that yesterday. I called Zillow last week.
No, but that's probably your setup on your phone.
Yeah, mine,
Okay.
even if it's a text or an email alert, like the Zillow alert comes up, should do that.
Yeah, it like bangs. That depends on how you set it up. on your
The
phone.
same problem, but
Yeah.
right now it's fixed. I don't know.
How do you do it?
I don't know how it's.
They come by email.
Comes text, yeah.
Like that?
Yes. To my,
No, you don't get a call. It's an app. It's just like WhatsApp. You have it on your phone, you set it to be silent or loud or whatever. The app will react to the way you set that up. The same thing happens in mine. Guys, one last thing. Guys, one last thing.
I probably go to the other one.
Holger,
Yeah.
one last thing.
Exclamation.
Yes. I'll talk about that with you just after. If on the messages that you guys get, if you click on any one of them, of your messages, and it's like an email and it has the whole thing, ignore what it says concierge. It's complete bullshit. I called Zillow to find out what that is. Apparently they'll field the call and do whatever. Just ignore that. If it says don't call the client, field means like they'll answer the call, they'll deal with it.
So it says concierge, don't call the client?
If it says don't call the client, I've called clients that say don't call the client. They're like, oh yes, I did. I
No,
called
it-
earlier.
it says
It's a
concierge.
it's a voicemail. It's a Zillow standard voicemail. That'll either tell you like follow up or the client rejected the call or whatever. I completely ignore that.
So like,
Call
I'm
me.
looking at the list now, like of all the inbox, which is
Sure.
like the first one, concierge, and now second one, concierge, and can you ignore that?
I would ignore that completely and make the call anyways.
And even like,
Oh,
if
okay,
it
feel it.
says appointment set,
That's what they do.
Call them anyways. I would call. That's the one that I texted you about, right? I texted you about that, I think, on Monday. Yeah, Zillow has some standard replies. And some of them is like, you know, they'll reply back or they'll take the voicemail. If the client doesn't leave a voicemail, it hangs up, and then it shows up ineligible contact already being worked with for another agent. I remember this one specifically because I made this call. And I asked them what happened when they called me. They said, no, it was a voicemail and I hung up. So if you see the concierge thing, I would ignore it. I would make the call. The first thing that I usually do when I receive a Zillow email, like one of these ones that has the info, is I immediately go on MLS and see if it's available, and then call them with it open. You know, do a quick read, see what it is. Okay, this thing's 119,000. It's a 3.2. It's 1,500 square feet. It's available. I would make the call and say, hey, I saw you called about this property. Property's available, and then go right back into the script. So that's the last thing of that. Okay, guys?
Thank you.
Thank you.